Vayishlach Avram is Yodo Vikach Amachelis Vishchodas V'no. So he sends his hand out. I told you he stretches his hand out to take the knife. A knife is called a machelis because it's ochel. Like when it cuts through, it's consuming whatever it's symbolically consuming it. It's called a machel. It's called a blade, a knife. Vayikra Elov Malach Hashem min Hashemayim. Vayomer Avram Vayomer Hineni. So an angel calls out. Vayomer al tishlach yodcha el anar. Don't set your hand on him. Ve'al taslo me'uma. Don't do anything. Ki ata yadati kirei lekimata. Now I know that you fear God. V'lo chasachta es bincha zitchitcha mimeni. I know you're not going to withhold. You wouldn't withhold your son. Obviously, everybody knows that the standard question of well, God knows what He's going to choose. Why do you have to put him to the test to begin with? God knows what He's going to choose. Well, it's not for Avram, it's not for God, it's for everybody else to understand why God chose Avram. This is the ultimate proof. Well, why did I choose you? Where's the ultimate? I know how good you are. Until you hit 5 home runs in the World Series, nobody else does. Now you've proven it, right? So there's the proof. The proof for everybody else. Why him? Why not me? Well, now look. Now, when push comes to shove, he did it. Number one. Number two. It's for Avram. Now let's see, what does that mean? It's for Avram. So let's go on a couple more psukim. Vayisa Avram eseinav. He raises his eyes. He sees a ram after it's been tangled in the thicket. He takes the ram and he sacrifices in place of his son. Now look at Rashi, where Rashi says in place of his son. I think it's on the previous page. Tachas beno. It's 4 lines from the bottom in Rashi, on 102 left column. Let's read this Rashi. Strange Rashi. Tachas beno. Me'achar shekasu vayaleu leolo. Once it says that he brought it as a offering, lo chaser mikra klum. The pasuk's not lacking anything. Umau tachas beno. Why does it have to say in place of his son? The Torah just said, well, he took the ram and he offered the ram. Why does it say he offered the ram in place of his son? So the answer is Rashi. Al kol avoda shenasa mimenu. Every form of the service, haya mispalo ve'omer hidaven, and he said, Yihi ratzon sheteza kilu yasuya bivdi. May it be your will as if this is actually done to my son. Ki ilu bini shachud, as if my son is slaughtered. Ki ilu dam wazaruk, as if his blood is sprinkled. Ki ilu bini mufshad, as if he has been skinned. Ki ilu niktar v'nasadeshet, as if he's been burnt and turned into ashes. And it means like this. What would have happened? Let's say Avram would have sacrificed Yitzchak. What would, exactly how would it have taken place? Well, what did you do anytime you brought an offering in the Beis Hamikdash? What did you do? You burnt, first you slaughtered it, then you cut it up, you skinned it, you cut it up, put it in pieces, burnt it on the altar. If he would have shechted Yitzchak, he wouldn't have just shechted him, he wouldn't have shechted him and left his body there. What would he have done? He would have shechted him, he would have cut him up, he would have skinned him, he would have burnt him on the altar, he would have done to Yitzchak exactly what he does to any offering. So here you have a situation where, okay, Yitzchak's not available because the angel says, don't shecht Yitzchak. So what should we do? So he says, don't shecht Yitzchak. What we're going to do instead is we're going to shecht the ram. And every step of the way he says, let this be as if it's Yitzchak. But it's not Yitzchak. So what did he gain out of it? All right. So let's go back to what Jeremy said. Who's the test for? God knows what Avram's going to do. So the test is either to show future generations why Avram was chosen, or show the people in the world then. But Jeremy says, well, the test was for Avram himself. God knows what He's going to choose. All right, so you could argue, but we still have free choice and everything else. So the answer is like this. There's a medrash that says when Avram Avinu took Yitzchak to shecht him. So the angel says in the post, the angel of Hashem says, don't set your hand on him. So then it says, Val taslo muma, don't do anything to him. Why does it have to repeat that? Once you say don't shecht him, then obviously don't do anything to him. Why does it say, 4 lines from the bottom, don't set your hands on him, Val taslo muma, don't do anything to him? Well, that's obvious. Once you're told not to shecht him, obviously you're not going to do anything. So the Medrash says like this. The angel said don't shecht him. So Avraham Avinu said, should I strangle him? He said, no, don't strangle him. So Avraham said, well, can I at least draw blood? So he says, no, don't draw blood. So Avraham says, so what am I going to do? He says, well, there's a ram. So he takes the ram, says, shecht him, let this be as if it's Yitzchak. Shecht, let it just be as if, skins him. Let it be as if it's Yitzchak. He cuts him up. Let it be as if it's Yitzchak. He burns him on the altar. What's going on? You ever been in a situation in life where there's something that you really don't want to do or you don't want somebody to do, and you have to be the nice guy and offer it? It's just something you really don't like. You say, hey, why don't you come over tonight? No, I can't. No, come on. No, I really can't. Oh, come on, I'd really like to have you over. All right, I will. Like, oh, darn, why'd I have to go that extra round? I wish I should have stopped while I was at. You were happy with the piece of food at here, you take the last piece. No, you take it. No, you take it. Okay, I will. Oof. Right? Well, why'd I have to do that? Right? Yeah, but it happens in life. So I understand. It says, don't shecht him. Well, should I strangle him? Hey, great idea. We didn't think of that up here. Yeah, strangle him. And then what would happen? What's going to make sense? What's going on? The answer is like this. Rav Dessler in Michtav Be'Eliyahu. Ever see Strive for Truth? So Rav Dessler says there's a principle in overall service of Hashem. I'm limited in exactly in the precise parameters of where this applies, but the principle he says is like this. There are certain times in life where a person experiences an inspiration. And when you're inspired, you have to then take the inspiration and translate it into an action. By doing so, the inspiration will then have made inroads into your own neshama, into your own growth, which is what you mean. It's for Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu is in a state of inspiration right now. Now, what he really wants to do, you ever been in a situation in life where you got to psych yourselves up? I've mentioned this in the past when I went to university. So every professor to a man or a woman, every single one of them, would walk into class. The first thing they'd say to us is, my name is Mr. Peters. Your grade will be based on this, that, or the other. Every single one. He would say his name and tell us what our grade is based on. Every single instructor that I had. So it became very clear to me, well, obviously nobody's there for the education. The only reason we're there is for the grade. And if you would just give me the grades, I would go home right now. That would be fine. Okay? That's clearly what we're there for. Because I'm going to school, not because I'm interested in Greek literature. I'm going to school because I got to get a job and I got to get a degree. So now imagine what would happen. You have your final exam in math or in Greek literature or something, history. You study for 3 days and 3 nights for this exam. You walk in to take the test. You're sitting there, your pen is in your hand. You're about to start, and just as you're ready, the instructor walks in and says, okay, there's no test today. Everybody gets an A. What should your reaction be, and what would your reaction be? I should be happy because the whole point was for the grade. I'm going to get an A. There's something in me irrational, totally irrational. It says, ooh, there's like a bit of a letdown. Why? Because I really wanted to put it on paper now. Why? I've pumped myself up for this. I've studied for it. But what do you care? You're in it for the A. Yeah, but I need to express what's in a potential state. You follow? So what happens over here? Avraham Avinu for 3 days has been getting himself ready to do something which he doesn't really want to do. He's a father who has to shecht his son. On the other hand, Avraham Avinu knows that if he manages to carry this out, he's going to break through to a new level which he's never been able to achieve, and he may never be able to achieve again. At the last minute, you're told, don't. So his first reaction is, don't slaughter him. Should I strangle him? No, I have to take all this energy, let's call it spiritual energy, ruchni energy. I have to do something with this energy. Should I strangle him? No. Can I at least make a cut? Something, some action. No. So what should I do? Take the ram. So he takes the ram, and every step of the way he puts whatever he would have put. Let it be as if this is Yitzchak. Let it be as if this is Yitzchak. Let it be as if he's taking all that pent-up energy and he's putting it into the ram in order to break through. That's what Rav Dessler says. He says that anytime you're inspired in life, and again, I don't know exactly what degree of inspiration he's talking about, but for the most part in life, if you're ever inspired, let's say you're inspired, you know what, I really want to make a breakthrough in my Torah learning, I'm going to really devote myself more seriously to my learning. You have to do it right then. Right then meaning at some point imminently. I don't know if that instant, but it has to be imminent. I want to become a more generous person. Go home right now and write out a check that's stuck. I want to become a kinder person. Go home, go help somebody, go bring food to somebody who's sick in the dormitory. Something. Take the inspiration and turn it into an action, and then you break through. And if you don't, Rabbi Dessler says, if you don't take that inspiration and do something concrete with it, then you actually drop lower. I remember being in, you ever go to Old Chicago? I think it closed. They went back. Old Chicago was the first indoor amusement park in the United States. It was in Chicago. It was an indoor amusement park. I went there with 3 friends. They had the first roller coaster. They had something called the Chicago Loop. It was the first roller coaster that did a 360. Did 2 360s on the roller coaster, right? So I was there with 3 friends. Of the 4 of us, 3 went on the roller coaster and 1 did not. 1 refused to go on the roller coaster because he was too afraid. I'm not going to mention him by name because it might be somebody that you know, right? And somebody that you might be looking at right now. So the 3 went on it, and I stayed with my feet firmly planted on the ground. I was a demon. I was a demon on the tilt-a-whirl, but I wasn't going to go up on that. I was going up on a roller coaster. I didn't like roller coasters. So I remember one time going on a roller coaster. Got myself to actually go on a roller coaster, not that one. Actually go on a roller coaster. And I remember as you're walking up, going up and hearing the rickety, the whole thing is moving. It's on these old roller. And I'm going up, asking myself, why am I doing this? I really don't want to be doing this. I wish I didn't have to be doing this. And you're walking up there. If I would get to the top, and right there at the top, they'd say, okay, the ride is closed for the day. Now, what should I do rationally? What should my feeling be? Yay. Right? But there would have been a letdown because I've gotten myself to the point, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this. I did think I did it once. I got to do this. I was not a roller coaster guy. You got to do because you got to take that inspiration and translate it into an action. So Avraham Avinu, the first day, when you say you're right, he did it. The test was for Avraham Avinu. If you could get through this, then you become a different person and you raise yourself to a higher level. And Rabbi Dessler says that's a rule in life in general. That's a rule in life in general. Now look 1 second. The test isn't over yet. The test is far from over. What happens when he finishes? So he slaughters the ram. He comes back. Hashem gives him the promise of everything good. Because you did this, and you didn't withhold your son. Pasuk Yud Zayin, Ki varecha varechecha, I will bless you. I'll bless your offspring. Will be abundant like the stars in the sand on the sea. And your enemies your offspring will eventually take over all the enemies. Then take a look at Pasuk Chaf. Skip down 3 lines. Vayugad la'Avram leimor hine yolda milka gam hibanim lenocher achicha. So Avram gets a message that his sister-in-law, Milka, has born children for Nochor, his brother. And among these children on this list is going to be a young lady named Rivka, okay, which is Yitzchak's soulmate, Rivka. Now take a look at Rashi on Pasuk Chaf. After this took place, Vayugad. Everybody see that left column, 3 lines to the top, page 104. Bishuvo mehar Moriah, when Avram Avinu came back from Har Moriah, Haya Avram Maharher, he was thinking to himself, Omer, he thought the following: Ilu Haya b'ni shachod, if my son would have been slaughtered, let's say I would have fulfilled it. Kfar Haya holech below banim, then he would have died childless. Haya li la'asiya isha mibnos anar amishkom amrei. I should have married him off already. Why did I blow this one? What if I would have killed him? I should have married him off long ago. Yeah, because if I would have shechted him, then there'd be nothing left. I should have. Why didn't I married him off? Bisra Kodesh Baruch Hu, Hashem says Shenolda Rivka Bazugo. Hashem sends him a message. Oh, by the way, his soulmate has been born. Okay, now there's a symptom that I won't even limit this to Balei Tshuva. This is something that is often engaged in by a negative type of behavior, engaged by many religious people, what we call religiously devoted people. You do something, and you may do something good, and then you go back and figure out why Hashem still doesn't like you. I did it. I did something. You know what? I don't know. My davening. I went to shul, put on tefillin this way. I don't know. I didn't have kavanah. Probably. I don't know what that was worth. And I helped some lady yesterday. Boy, I should have used that time better for something else. And I studied Torah and Yeshiva. You know what? That was a way. Maybe I should have been doing chesed. And you're always second guessing yourself, right? So Avraham Avinu just fulfills the biggest mitzvah in history, the single greatest act of devotion in history, and he looks over, boy, I don't know if this is all right. Maybe I should have married Yitzchak off sooner. What if I would have shechted him? Maybe it wouldn't have been a good thing. You understand? This is something we all suffer from. So I want to tell you an incredible piece of Gemara. The Gemara says that there's a pasuk that says in the future, Hashem is going to bring out the sun. Lasid Lavo, the Gemara says in the future, God's going to bring out the sun, and the tzaddikim are going to be healed in it, and the sinners are going to be burnt in it. The tzaddikim are going to be healed in the sun, and the Rishayim are going to be burnt in the sun. So, what do you call it? So, the commentaries asked, the Stipler asked, well, what do I understand? Why are some people healed by the sun and some people are burnt by it? And the answer is, okay, you could always answer somebody, certain medicines are good for some people, they're not good for other people. Somebody who's got a strep throat takes antibiotic is going to help him. Somebody who's perfectly healthy and he takes antibiotics, the antibiotics will make him feel not well. You could always have that. The Stipler says it's much, much deeper than that. When the sun comes out, the sun obviously represents light. We always talk about the light of truth. When you don't know what's going on, you're in the dark. We always talk about being in the dark. Somebody turns on the light, and there's clarity of vision based on the light that goes on. So it's remarkable. You'll find certain people who are really no good. And once in a while, they'll do something righteous or something noble, usually for ulterior motivation, like a photo op. And they just think that they are one of the 36 tzaddikim of the generation, right? They finally did something good. Then you got the other people who are constantly devoted, they're constantly working on themselves, and they always feel they're coming up short in their obligations. I can guarantee you, sometimes you see these politicians, and they have one of the secular politicians with the, yarmulke perched on his head like this, and he's at the kotel, and they take a picture of him praying at the kotel. And what's he doing it for? Probably he's trying to cater to certain religious groups to vote for him. There's nothing to do with the vote. Yet the guy thinks, well, I'm a tzaddik. I was at the kotel. I even said Shema. Wow, you're one. You're just here. You're you in the Chafetz Chaim. Right? The guy just thinks he thinks he's made it. Right? Then you have the people like Rabbi Zweig, who are probably walking around all day thinking, boy, I'm coming up short of my obligations. I should be learning more Torah. I should be a better person. Right? And it's true. The people, the more devoted they are, the more they're convinced that they're not doing enough. And the people who do a little bit, they just think that the guy, there's one guy puts away the Sidurim in the shul, so he thinks, he's just, he's a hidden tzaddik because he puts away the Sidurim. So in the future, the light of truth is going to come out. The sun's going to come out. And it's going to show that tzaddikim, and those who are righteous and devoted, what you did was good. You'll see in the light of truth that what you did is good. And the Rishoyim are going to be burnt in it because there's nothing worse than being exposed as being a fraud. Right? You come out, you try putting on a show for everybody else, so the light of truth comes out. There's nothing as embarrassing in life as being caught. You're caught under telling a lie. What's it called? You're caught red-handed. There's a certain type of lie. I forgot what it's called. There's a white lie. No, white lie is a subtle lie. This is a big black lie we're talking about. It's called just a blatant lie. I don't know. There's an expression for it. And there's nothing as embarrassing as being caught lying. You're just caught, and it's embarrassing as anything. That sun is going to be the light of truth. That's what Avraham Avinu. He comes back from slaughtering Yitzchak, and he's worried that maybe I did the wrong thing. That's symptomatic of many people on Avodas Hashem. So don't do that. Don't go there. You did your mitzvah. You're good. You did your mitzvah. You're good. Right, go on to the next mitzvah. Don't worry about what could have been done. We're not done yet. Let's go to the next Parshat. So there's a Medrash. Torah says on page 106, Chayei Sarah. Vayu Chayei Sarah, Mea Shana ve'esrim Shana ve'sheva Shana Shnei Chayei Sarah. So the life of Sarah is 127 years. It's obviously broken into 3 increments over here. So Rashi says, it's first Rashi, Lekach nichtav shana bekol klal uklal. By every section it says a year. 100 years, 20 years, and 7 years. Lomar lecha, to let you know, shekolecha nidrosh v'atzo. Everybody see it as first Rashi, right column. Bas kuf, when she was 100, kibas chof lechet. As far as sinful. Ma bas chof lochota, at 20 years old she didn't sin. Shareina bas onche, that up till 20 you can't be punished. Af bas kuf belochet, even when she was 100 she hadn't done any affairs. Ubas chof kibas zayin liyofi. And when she was 20, she was like 7 as far as beauty. Now, that the commentaries all jump on. I mean, as cute as a 7-year-old is, there's a different beauty by a 20-year-old than a 7-year-old. Most people, if you have a chance to go with a girl who's 20 or a girl who's 7, all laws notwithstanding, you definitely choose the 20-year-old. A 20-year-old is more beautiful than a 7-year-old. How can she was more beautiful than 7? At 7, they're pretty, they're cute. You could put them in a catalog somewhere wearing funny clothing, but they're not. It's not like anybody turns their head a second time. It's still a little girl. Yet it says when she was 20, she was like 7 years old for beauty. So some of the commentaries say, well, when they're 7 years old, they just got very pure skin. There's got to be more to it than that. The answer is that for most girls, from 20, at 20 they kind of peak out, and it's downhill from there, right? At 7, you're still on the way up. So from 20, she was 20 years old, she was still becoming progressively more beautiful, just like she was when she was 7, number one. Number two, there's a beauty of purity. At 7 years old, children have a certain purity. There's a certain beauty of purity. At 20 years old, they've lost it. Most have lost it. And I've told you many times that you can see some girls who are very beautiful, and everything's down the tubes when they open their mouths, right? They just, when you get to know them, it's the Wicked Witch of the West, and you get to the point where you're absolutely repulsed. So Sarah Imenu, there's a certain purity of beauty that was increasing. Now, what's the connection between this, next pasuk, Vatama Sarah b'Kiryas Arba hi Chevron. By the way, this is the big week. Everybody goes to Chevron this Shabbos, because this is Shabbos Chai Sarah, so all the Jews go to Chevron. You guys are going on Wednesday. Vatama Sarah b'Kiryas Arba hi Chevron be'Eretz Canaan. Vayavo Avram lispod l'Sarah v'liv kosa. Avram comes to eulogize Sarah and to mourn for her, and you'll notice that there's a small chaf in the word v'liv kosa. That means in the Torah, when you read it in the Torah, you'll notice the word v'liv kosa is actually written with a small chaf, right? In the Torah, page 106, Joe, page 106, third line. In this Torah, there's a small chaf. So, what is the connection between this parsha, Sarah dies, and the Akedah, the sacrificing of Yitzchak? So there's a medrash. The medrash says that Sarah Imenu, after sending off Yitzchak with Avram Avinu, the Satan comes to her and he says to her, oh, by the way, I don't know if you heard, Yitzchak was slaughtered. The mother of Sarah Imenu is absolutely distraught. And then a little while later, the Satan dressed himself up in Yitzchak and came in and walked in. And when Sarah Imenu saw Yitzchak standing in front of her after thinking that he died, so Porcha Nishmasa, her soul, she died of the shock, of the joy, she died. Which is why later in the Torah we find that when they want to tell Yaakov Avinu that Yosef is alive, so they don't just come in barging in, hey Dad, Yo's alive! Right? They send in Serach Bas Asher, his granddaughter, and she plays the harp, and she starts singing, da-da-da, she starts singing, da-da-da-da, Yosef. Hey, Yosef is alive. Yosef is alive. What? Yosef is alive. And it breaks the news to them very gently, because they've already learned from Sarah Imenu that the shock could kill you. There was a story in South America last year, I think. Story in South America. There's a funeral. Some guy they found a body. Some guy, Julio something or other in South America, in Argentina. They found his body, and they were burying him. And the whole family got together. He had disappeared for a while. They found his body. And so they're at the funeral. And what had happened was they had found the wrong body. This guy had disappeared for about 4 months. In the meantime, they found this body. The police thought it was him. So they told the family, and they were burying him. There's a whole funeral. There's a eulogy. And while this is going on, he decided to come home. He finally showed up. He had hidden somewhere for 4 months. He owed money or something else. Then he shows up. He sees a crowd of people. True story. This was in the papers. He comes walking in. I mean, it's true that it was in the papers anyway. He comes walking in. And he sees there's a funeral going on. Here's the guy's eulogizing. There's his mother is crying. It's his eulogy. And he's standing there in the back. He's sitting there and he's listening to this eulogy. And and he's listening. Yeah, that's an interesting thing they said about him. Hey, that's pretty nice. And he's listening to the whole eulogy. And then at a certain point he says, no, I'm actually here. I'm here, And so his mother said, and they just made a mistake on the body. So they interviewed his mother. His mother says, wow, I was really surprised. I mean, this doesn't happen that often. What was she supposed to say? She goes, I'm really sorry. Yeah. When's the last time this happened? A guy showed up to his own funeral. So over here, there's always the danger. There's a danger of showing up and shocking people. It's never good. I had a friend when we were in yeshiva for a year, when we were 18. So he left yeshiva. He didn't tell his parents when he's coming home. He just went into the house and went up to his room and went to sleep without telling them. And his mother comes walking into the house. There's a body in his bed. So his mother goes, you don't do that. You don't do that as much as you'd like to. You don't do it because you could trigger off a heart attack. So here, Sarah Imeinu is told, ooh, Yitzchak died. And she's distraught. And then all of a sudden you say, hello, hi mom. And it was the Satan doing it. Now listen carefully. Listen very carefully. So if somebody were to ask you, first of all, remarkably, the Chassam Sofer, one of the classic commentaries, says, why was her death brought about in this way? When she was told that Yitzchak would be born, what was her reaction? A laugh of cynicism. She didn't believe it. When she should have believed it, she didn't. So when she shouldn't have believed it, she did, because God gives you what you deserve. Vida kedega vida. When I informed you you're going to have the son, you laughed because you didn't believe it. Then you should have believed it. You didn't. Now you shouldn't believe it, and you did. So it's all manipulated. Okay, now, but the question is like this. Now listen carefully because it's a basic Torah idea. If somebody would ask you, why did Sarah die, what would you say? What caused her death? What caused her death? The surprise of the Akedah. Okay. So there was an incident that took place in Israel. And we're going to have to straighten out our heads a little bit the way we view things in life. There's an incident that happened here in Israel. A little boy fell off of a building, about a 4-story building. There was a Hatzalah guy. You know the Hatzalah organization. There was a Hatzalah guy about a block away. Zipped down, picked up the boy, got him to the hospital. They did surgery, saved his life. The doctor said if he would have gotten here 10 minutes later, would have died. So everybody said, wow, it's a good thing that there was a Hatzalah guy right down the block. So Rav Shach Zatzal, the Shiva Punner, said, you got it all wrong. You got it. You're looking at it in the wrong direction. If the Hatzalah guy wouldn't have been there, the little boy would have fallen off a roof somewhere else near a Hatzalah boy. Now, the world isn't run by Hatzalah. The parents had to go through the aggravation. The child had to go through it. The doctor, the Hatzalah guy, everybody in the story had to go through it. Had he not been there, it would have happened somewhere else. It would have happened in a different way. In other words, what came first, the chicken or the Hatzalah? Right? What's the order of events over here? Now, here, Sarah Imeinu, we're told she's 127-year-old, she dies. Why did she die? What caused her death? Mr. Fogel was right. Her death was caused by 127-year-old. It was time for her to die. What was the the trigger for the death was that the Satan dressed himself up as Yitzchak. It could have been a heart attack. It could have been something else. But her time was up. So she was going to die anyway. It just happened to be brought about this way. This is what human beings often confuse. Human beings, somebody is nifter, somebody says, how did he die? You know what the answer is? How did he die? The answer to how did he die is the angel of death got him. That's how he died. That's the answer. But everybody wants to know all of them. Malacham Avos got him. Everybody always wants to know what they say when God was giving out assignments and he called in the angel of death. This is, oh boy, I don't really want to do this. Hashem said, why not? He figured that, it's because it's a morbid job. He said, no, that's not it. It's just nobody's ever going to give me any credit. When everybody asks, why did he die? He says, well, he had cancer, he got hit by a car, he fell off a building. Nobody's ever going to say it was the angel of death. It's a thankless job. No job satisfaction here. Right? Nobody's ever going to attribute it to me, which is true. So the Torah is telling you, there was a case here in Israel. It happened to somebody that I know. Lag BaOmer, they went up, we're going back probably maybe 10, 15 years ago. Lag BaOmer, everybody goes up to, not everybody, I don't, but some people go up, some 500,000 people go up to Meron. So there's a frum couple, parents of 13 children, and they were there overnight. And on the way back, they asked me for a ride to Yerushalayim. The guy was driving, and on the way back to Yerushalayim, he had a blowout, or he fell asleep at the wheel. It's not clear what happened. And the car got into a bad accident. The wife, mother of 13 children, was killed in the accident. So everybody, that was a bad one. And I know the guy, I'm good friends with his brother-in-law, and the family was sitting Shiva. And the driver of the car, who took him a few years to recover, he was a wreck afterwards, so the driver of the car, he came into the Shiva house and he was distraught. The father of this woman, the grandfather of the family, father of this woman said to him, I don't know what you're upset about. I don't understand why you're upset. The Torah says Sarah lived 127 years. I think the woman's name was Sarah also. It said Sarah lived 127 years. And she died because that was Vayeira Chaye Sarah. Her lifespan was 127. She had to die. If she would have died from one way, she would have died another way. He said, my daughter, that was it. That was her life was up. God obviously said that she has to go now. If it wouldn't have been through you, it would have been some other way. So you have nothing to blame yourself for. This is the father of the girl said that to him. Right? That's the correct Torah hashkafa. That's the correct Torah outlook. So here the Torah is telling you, Sarah Imenu, she lives 127 years and she dies. Now listen carefully. This is just mind-boggling. It says, Vayevo Avram lispod l'Sara v'livkosa. He comes to mourn for Sarah. V'livkosa is a small chav. A small chav. Why is it a small chav? So the commentary said, well, the Torah is emphasizing that he minimized the amount that he cried. He minimized the amount that he cried. He cried, he would have wanted to cry more. He cried less than he normally would have. Why? So the answer is, well, let's go back to that Satan. The angel of death, the evil inclination, the Malach HaMavis, the Yetzer Hara, Satan, they're all one. It's all one person. Right? He's got several roles. So the Satan understands that the Jewish people have a tremendous merit right now. What's that merit called? The Akedah. The binding of Yitzchak is a merit for the Jewish people. He needs some way or other to remove that merit. That's going to be too much of a benefit for the Jewish people through history. He's got one last chance. He couldn't stop Avram Avinu. The Medrash says on the way to the Akedah, he turned himself into a puddle that they had to walk through. And he comes to Avram Avinu and says, "You're out of your mind." He comes to Yitzchak and says, "Hey, you're too young to die." He tried everything and it didn't work. He's got one last chance. What is it, gentlemen? There's only one way to wipe out a mitzvah. Only one way to wipe out a mitzvah. How can you wipe? You did a mitzvah. How can you wipe it out? There's only one. Once you've done it, you've done it. There's only one way to wipe out a mitzvah. And even if you do an Vayeira, the Vayeira doesn't wipe out the mitzvah. You get reward for the mitzvah. You're accountable for the Vayeira. How do you do? There's only one way to wipe it out. If you regret the mitzvah that you did, you can actually wipe it out. I mean, you have to really regret it. So there's only one last chance for every. Imagine a guy goes and he gives tzedakah. You know, you have $10 on you, so you give tzedakah. And then on your way home, you pass the lottery office. They're selling a ticket. Nah, I haven't got cash on me. Forget it. And then the next day you found out that, and if you had cash, you would have bought it. And the next day you found out that was a winning ticket. $3 million. What do you think you're going to be thinking about having given that tzedakah? Well, gee, am I glad I gave that money away. Right? All of a sudden you're, what do you call it? Don't look the same. Yesterday you're walking around, wow, am I noble? Today you're thinking, oh boy, am I a fool? Right? And you just wiped out the credit. You actually regret having done the mitzvah. Avram Avinu comes home and sees Sarah died. And then he says, wait, what happened? She heard about the Akedah and she couldn't take it. At that moment, if you start crying externally could arouse something internally. I got to reduce my crying so it doesn't trigger off any sort of regret mechanism. And therefore, Avram Avinu reduces his crying. Beautiful idea, right? That's the Satan's last chance. It's his last chance to try to wipe out the merit of the Akedah. So Avram Avinu reduces his crying. Okay, now. Then it says, Vayovo Avram lispod l'sar leviv, because, okay, gentlemen, you're going to have to really turn on the thinking caps now. Vayovo Avram lispod l'sar v'liv kosa. Avram comes to eulogize Sarah and to mourn for her. Pasuk, it's still Pasuk Gimel. Avram comes to eulogize Sarah and to cry for her. Take a look at Rashi in the right column, 3 lines from the bottom. The last word on 4th line from the bottom. Vayovo Avram, where did he come from? Mi Be'er Sheva. Avram comes from Be'er Sheva. After the Akedah, he went to Be'er Sheva. Then he comes home to hear Sarah dies. He comes home, and he's gonna eulogize her. Okay, so where did he come from? Be'er Sheva. There's a medrash that says, you know where he came from? He came from Har HaMoriah. Came from Mount Moriah, where the Akedah took place. There's another medrash that says he came from the funeral of Terach, his father, from burying Terach. He came from burying Terach. Okay, so you got one medrash. You got one pasuk. It says he came to eulogize Sarah. Where did he come from? 3 different places. He came from Beersheba. He came from Har Moriah. He came from He came from the funeral of Terach. Oh, make up your mind. Make up your mind. You got 3 places. How could they all coexist? Either he came from here, here, or here. What does that mean? What does that mean? Anybody got an idea? How could it be 3? He came from 3 places? That's quite a talent.
They're all at the same spot.
They weren't. Beersheba's over there, and the Har Moriah's over there. He could have come from both.
Terach could have been in either one of those places.
Terach was back in Haran. When modern day, probably Turkey or Persia.
Maybe he went to all of them and came with them.
He did. He did a world tour. Yeah. Okay. Could be.
He sent his sons.
He said the son doesn't say that. It says he came from there. Says he came from there. I'll tell you what the commentaries say. Where did he come from physically? Physically, he came from Beersheba. That's where he was. It was in Beersheba. He came from Beersheba. But now he's going to eulogize her. We even use an expression like that in English, don't we? Where are you coming from? Somebody says something, say, where are you coming from? Don't we say that? So he's going to eulogize Sarah Imenu. Well, what are you going to eulogize her? Where are you coming from in your eulogy? What are you drawing on to eulogize her? There are 2 things. Number 1 is the burial of Terach. Right? Avram Avinu took on a pagan world that was headed by his father. Who encouraged him? Who supported him? Who helped him? Who was with him all along? Sarah Imenu. He's coming from the burial of Terach. When he eulogized her, you know who this lady was? This is the lady who battled the world against me. This is the lady, when I started the organization to fight against the internet, she was the one who encouraged me. Right? When I battled crime, she was the one who encouraged me. That's his wife. He couldn't do it by himself. She was helping him. And he comes from Har HaMoriah. What does that mean? You have a son who is willing to go up to the mountains. I got news for you, gentlemen. Who do you think is the real influence in the home? The men always get the credit. I got news for you. You're a buck, as my father used to say, I'm a buck private. Go ask the general. Right? Anytime I'd ask, hey, Dad, could we? Go ask the general. I'm a buck private. Right? Mother's the general. The influence in the home is the wife. The influence in the home is the mother. You have a son, you have a Yitzchak who went up to Har Moriah. So the father says, yeah, well, I used to learn Mishnayos with him. That's why the kid. I got news for you. Anything good is usually because of the mother. Anything not good is usually because of the father. That's the way it works in life. Okay, by Avram Avinu, it's Yitzchak, so I'm sure Avram Avinu was good because of Avram Avinu too. But Avram Avinu is saying, if we raised the son like Yitzchak who's willing to die without resistance, it's because he got that from his mother. Did you ever hear of Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach? You've heard of Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, one of the leaders of the generation. So when he was Nifter, when Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was Nifter, so somebody asked one of his sons. He had all of his sons, all of Rav Shlomo Zalman's sons, are all major Torah scholars, big mamish, big stuff. So somebody asked one of his sons, "How did your father manage to have sons like you? I mean, 7 sons, each one is a bigger Talmud Chacham than the next." So he said, "Listen, the world at large knows my father. We know our mother." That's what he said, and that's the truth. That's the truth. Whatever the success is, I remember a woman telling me, She's having trouble with some of her kids. She said, listen, the bad things we don't take the blame for. The good things we take credit for. Right? I got news for you. It's just the opposite. It's just the opposite. Anything negative they probably got from the parents. Anything good, it's in spite of us, not because of us, right? And that's the harsh truth. And the best thing that a husband can do, raising children, is get out of the way and let your wife raise the children. That's the best thing you can do. Don't be so smart. Get out of the house. Give her as much money as she needs and keep your mouth shut. That way you'll be successful. Let her raise the children. You get involved, you're going to mess things up, right? Two places. Don't get involved with children. Don't get involved with the cooking. Everything will be okay, right? Leave it to her. Leave it to her. Everything will work out. All right, we'll continue tomorrow, gentlemen.